What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So I've been playing Destiny 2 now for about a week, and so I thought, I'm pretty much good to do my review now. And it's gonna be, a pretty short video probably, and I can keep it quite simple, because my conclusion for the game really already at this point is that it's a good sequel made purely for the Destiny 1 fans. It's really as simple as that. When the original game of course came out, I've been sharing that story already a couple times, but I feel like a big part of people was kind of disappointed because they maybe expected the original Destiny to be more than it was. They hoped for the story to be better and for there simply to be a bit more variety in the gameplay and maybe some more content too. Whereas another half really enjoyed the game for what it was, just a fun shooter that even though it didn't have too much content, it was still fun to play and replay all those missions the whole time, plus the Crucible of course. And so in general they just put lots of time into it, leveling up and getting more and better loot, and that's still what Destiny 2 does at its core. It doesn't exactly like try to really blow us away with a sequel that does so many new things or something. It just does the pretty much the slight refinements that made the original experience to the fans kind of like sometimes a little annoying. It looked at those couple of flaws and it tried to at least make this an experience for those Destiny fans that is a lot more refined. That's really what it comes down to. So I just pretty much listed down the good points and the bad points for me personally. The good is that for me this is still the same fun gameplay. Like, I don't know what it is about Destiny, but it's just like, to me it's kind of like a mindless shooter game. I just have a lot of fun playing the game with friends, talking about stuff the whole time while we're just, killing bad guys and having a fun time, you know what I mean? Like, it's a fun game to play. Of course, the whole looting aspect of it makes it even more fun to the point where it's not just about, constantly just shooting guys, but every time you finally manage to get some new loot that shows that it has a little bit, a better stats than your original, gear did already, then it's fun to just constantly collect that and constantly try to make your character better. So, by now I'm completely leveled up. I'm level 20 and I'm trying to pretty much get to the maximum power level and everything like that. And that's one of those things that makes the game so addictive. Now, really as far as the slight improvements that it made that I just was talking about, for example, some things I could mention is that now, you actually have in these hub worlds, in the planets of the game, you will get a map with actual quests to do, like side quests, adventures they are called. Or you can unlock, for example, your other subclasses. For example, I'm playing with the Hunter myself, so I can unlock the Gunslinger subclass by doing a certain quest first, and then that way you unlock it and you're able to actually start using it. Public events, that was kind of like a really big annoyance for original Destiny fans, where they had to literally look up on third-party websites when and where a public event would be taking place. This game completely gets rid of that and actually shows you on the map when and where exactly a public event is going to be taking place. So once again, those are like the slight annoyances that people didn't really, didn't like in the original game that they've now finally corrected in this one. You don't have to go back to the orbit just to go to a different planet. You can literally be on the planet IO doing a side quest and decide to want to play multiplayer, and you go to a multiplayer lobby instantly. You can just pull up the map from any location where you're at in the game. It's also easier to compare loot and stuff, so once again, there's just these couple of things done that make it a smoother experience for the original Destiny fans. I also think that as far as environments go, like, in some way they're a little less cool in my opinion, and in some way they're better. Like, for example, I liked how the original game had these more exotic environments and big, huge landscapes, like when you went to Mars and Venus. Yeah, just those locations could look very impressive. In this game, it's a little bit more like, I don't know, it's just the settings aren't as exotic, but at the same time they are still more impressive, and there's a lot more stuff going on in the background. Like, you'll be playing a mission and you'll actually see ships passing by, or there's this big kind of like Metal Gear Solid 2 style big shell level where you just see the ocean and you see the waves of water right next to you as you're fighting, fighting enemies and stuff, and it just looks impressive. Like, this game does have some more impressive environments where you're sometimes looking around you being like, damn, the skill on this is quite quite massive. And last of all, what I really enjoyed about the game, and this is kind of what I liked about Destiny 1 too, is that the music is really good. It's just bombastic, great music, awesome soundtrack that gets you in the mood for the game. And so in general, these are the things that together just make this a very fun experience once again. Like, it's a fun game to play. If you enjoyed Destiny 1, you're gonna enjoy Destiny 2 for the exact same reasons pretty much, except those slight little annoyances that have now been gotten rid of, right? Now, as far as we get into the bad stuff for the game, there is still, unfortunately, some to mention. I guess really my biggest complaint for Destiny 2, and I've been talking about this already with the beta and stuff, is simply the fact that it feels like more of the same in every single way. And so, once again, you can look at that as a bad thing, you can look at it as a good thing, but I personally really feel like because it's doing the same things, it just doesn't have the same impact on me anymore. You know, yes, it did those few minimal things to make it a better experience, but at the same time, it still feels like I'm playing Destiny 1 here, and I'm doing the same stuff that I've been doing for the last 3 years. So, you know, I was personally really hoping that they'd go the extra mile and really have this be a step up from the original game, where you really feel like, damn, they put some time and effort into trying to make this the experience that Destiny should have been from the beginning. It's not really that, so that's, in my personal opinion, kind of a bad thing. Also, for example, that translates itself into the fact that there are barely any new enemies. It just, once again, feels like you're playing that original game even in that way. There's a couple of them, but that's really all it comes down to. And of course, yeah, the story. They tried to make this a big deal, but I don't understand why. Yes, you could argue there are more cutscenes in the game, and it's actually a little bit more like, you know, you actually have a grasp of what is going on here. You know what the characters are talking about, and you can at least follow the story well up to a certain extent. But it's very basic. There's not a whole lot of, you know, just depth to it. It lacks the meaning completely. It's a very generic story about good guys trying to win from bad guys. And ultimately, yeah, there's no big plot twist or no big, wow, I didn't see that coming moment. The voice delivery is kind of cringy at times, in my personal opinion, you know, seeing the villain speak and the just the other characters you'll be meeting. I don't know, it kind of feels like it lacks identity sometimes. The game doesn't know if it wants to be a very serious game, but then at the same time, yeah, it also will have these characters that are just making jokes all the time, and it just doesn't blend well, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't feel right. And the story, like, yes, you'll be playing through it once and you'll be paying attention, I guess, to the cutscenes, but it's not something that you're going to be remembering for a long time, really. So that's basically just my conclusion for the game. Of course, the raid is still coming, and that's going to be a big part of it. They decided to release that a little later, so I think that's actually releasing tomorrow. But, you know, for the raids myself as well, I really enjoy doing those, but it also, to me, kind of feels like more of the same personally, except on an even grander scale. You're playing with 6 people, you gotta maybe, you know, try and figure out certain things in it, you know, how you're supposed to get past certain parts. But as far as everything goes, this is, like I said, I can't stress it out enough, this is more Destiny. It has pretty much the same amount of content, I feel, like the original game, except maybe a few more side quests. I didn't really talk about the multiplayer, but that is essentially, to me, also very much the same thing with slight improvements. And so, generally speaking, like, yeah, if you enjoyed Destiny 1 and you thought that spending the $60 on it was worth it for the base game, and you've been playing it that whole trajectory, you know, buying all the DLCs and expansions, and you've just been having a great time playing it, you'll be having a great time playing this game once again. But at the same time, this is not a sequel that is gonna blow those of you away who are really disappointed by the original. So that's pretty much my conclusion for it. I think that's really the most fair I could be about the game. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. I would give the game a 7.5 out of 10, simply because, yeah, like, it's a fun game to me. It just doesn't really have the same impact anymore as the original did because of how similar it is. So, with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you again next time.